Alright, good morning. Happy Saturday morning here at the shop. And I was going to go chase some elk around, but decided to focus on the hot rod today, the rat rod, the CHOPT, whatever we're calling this thing. We'll come up with the name eventually, but here we are all mocked up. I don't think I've put this on here yet, so now you see it. Things are starting to look, get the look a little bit. This is just a Vortec engine I have. It's going to go in the next project in probably about 5 or 6 years. But anyway, had an engine through the headers we plan to use on this thing. The tunnel ram we plan to use to try to figure out the height. And as you can see, it's the top of the carb is sitting just below the windshield level. So by the time we put a scoop or air filter of some sort on, I figure it's going to sit and have just about the right look. So some things to consider here. All right. We, as you can kind of see, actually I'm going to move you over a little bit. And we'll get you where you can see. There we go. So here's the deal. I want to use these headers. I bought them on the marketplace and they just look cool. But what I come to realize, is that's my lim fact. That is my limiting factor as to how high I can have this engine sit. I brought the frame down pretty darn low. It's not sitting very high off the ground, and it's going to squash obviously a few inches when I put the load of the engine on it. And right now the bottom of the pan is sitting about 6 inches off the ground. So I think it's only going to be about 4 inches off the ground, which seems like maybe not a great idea. But we're going to go with it. And if I have to, my backup plan is I can put a spacer on the bracket that's on top of the spring and bring that frame up a little bit. And if I have to do that, I'll do that. Just so that I'm not scraping pans and messing things up. So today, like I said, shifted gears on the plan for the day. Gonna focus on this. There's everything still to do. We have the front suspension welded up. I appreciate everyone's comments on my terrible welds. Very aware that they are bad. I'll eventually probably muck them out and do a redo on most, if not all of those. But for now, it sits right. It's at the angle it's going to be. I'm going to start focusing on some other things, and we'll come back to that when the time's right. So, things to consider. I want the engine to sit back far enough that I have enough room for my, any kind of fan, any kind of whatever I have going on the front end of the engine. But I also don't want it to sit so far back that when I put a firewall in here, that it's hitting the back of the engine, right? Obviously. And the distributor, I mocked up a distributor in here this morning, just a minute ago. And my HEI, with this tunnel ram, I think the HEI has too large of a circumference. And I don't think it's going to sit in. So I do have a backup MSD type that I'm going to probably end up using, which means now I have to reconfigure things a little bit. But anyway, I think I have it about where I want it. I might move it forward just a skosh. So I need to start marking where I'm going to put the engine mounts here and mock those up, get some marks, make sure they're square to the frame and they're both they're in the same spot relative to one another in the frame so that the engine is square in the frame. And I'll show you what I'm going to use here. I got these off of who knows where, someplace. I'm guessing, if I remember right, let me grab my chair here. If I remember right, I got these off of Speedway, I think. They have so many cool things. So I think I'm going to try to use this deal. Okay, it's a motor mount. It's prefabbed. Fits a small block Chevy. And then obviously you can weld on your mounts to your frame as need be. So it kind of goes in here like this. Mounts to the engine. right? And then I can fit it to the frame. So I think I'm gonna do that today. Start figuring, make sure I have it where I want. Obviously there's a consideration for where the transmission's gonna fall in there, and the shifter. Right now, where I have it positioned, the shifter where it engages the transmission is all the way back against the seat. So I'll give you a quick peek at that. Okay, so if we look in here, the way it's all mocked up, you can see where the shifter mounts, it's against the cab there. So I'm gonna have to go forward just a little bit to give that enough room to breathe. I thought about chopping out a tunnel, but again, those headers are all the way as high as they can go. The engine's as high as it can be right now. So I think I might as well leave it as is and go ahead and run the transmission under the body where it sits. Because here's the other dynamic, right? All this plays together. Then I have the body sitting on jack stands, and I'm gonna have to figure out where it's gonna sit relative to the frame down here. See how right now it's about a half an inch, I think you can see that, above the frame. I think I want this flange to sit level with the frame, or there's a step inside here where it seems to naturally welcome a brace. And I think I'm gonna put the brace on the top of the frame, so this will actually sit, a half an inch higher. It'll have a pretty good rake. So what we're gonna do then is this Z that's in this frame and is set up for a 4-link, it looks like, isn't enough Z. So according to the guru, aka my dad, I need to come up higher with the frame, which the back end of the frame. So I want to go vertical, square it off, come back, and that'll allow the front to sit down a little bit while still giving enough clearance to go over the rear end, put all the suspension back here and everything. Obviously, we have lots of extra frame we can chop off, put up there. But I'm not tackling that today. I'm starting from the front, working my way back. I might get really crazy. We'll see, but if I really get ambitious today, I've never welded aluminum, and I got the proper advice to take my radiator and have someone else weld the aluminum. Let's talk about that for a quick second. So here's the deal on the radiator. Got the radiator, pretty slick. It's gonna fit right in there just like it should. Obviously, within the cowl there, or the radiator cover, all of a sudden I can't remember exactly what that thing's called, but you know what I mean. Well, here's the problem. So let's look at this for a second. I put this on, okay, and I slip this over the radiator, and the problem is that this tab is too high. It's a radiator made for a Model T. This is a 24 cab, but the radiator, what the heck's the name of that? Anyway, you know what I mean. The thing that covers the radiator cowl. I don't know why I can't think of the name of it all of a sudden, but this is from, according to the very fancy marking on it, a 2627T. So who knows, maybe those sat a little different. I have another one over here that's also Model T that I don't know, but the guy claimed it was a 24. Okay. It's a little more rusted out, matches the body, but I think I'm going with this other one because in all these, like I said, if I ever put these on the interwebs for more than just mostly my dad and brother's mom looking at, Give me your opinion, but this, as you can see, matches that the fancy AC unit, aka the little flap in front of the cab there that allows airflow into the cab. And they match. Kind of like the way it looks. So I think I'm going with this this radiator cover deal-a-majobber. Anyway, but it's too tall. As you can see, there's a gap right here. So the mounts, the tabs on the side of the radiator down there, right here, wherever that was, need to be lower as to bring this up. And so I need to cut those off, bring them down about 2 inches, and re-weld them. I don't know if I can do that or not, but I think I'm gonna try. I think I got the wire, I got the proper gas. I'm gonna try it because hey, the whole point of this this hot rod is two objectives. Again, the gentleman who had it before me passed away, left it to a buddy. It sat for years. You know, old hot rodders had a vision. I'm trying to make his vision come to life, kind of out of respect for him. I don't even know the guy, but every hot rodder who's ever started a project and not finished it. So that's objective number one. Objective number two is learn. I've never built a hot rod myself from frame, basically, which is what this is. So I'm learning. I have already learned. Turn my heat up on my welds. I will do that here forward. Learning to weld aluminum might be on my list today. I might take a try, and if I fail miserably, then I'll take it to somebody else. But if you don't try, then you definitely don't know how to do it. And there's your lesson of the day, I guess. Not that you need lessons any more than anybody else, especially, I can use all the lessons I can get. But here's the CHOPT. Time to stop talking. We'll get to work. Okay, my long list of things I should have had someone else do because they actually know what they're doing. The radiator, as I mentioned, this little tab right here, it's too high. It needed to be welded on, flipped over. It needs to set at the bottom down here, and I don't know if you can see that. There we go. It needs to set perfectly even with this line right here. So it's off by like, I'm gonna say 3/4 of an inch maybe. Because when the radiator shell goes on here, I figured out what it's called now, the radiator shell. I don't know why I couldn't remember that a minute ago. Sits on there, you can see it's just a little bit longer. So we need this tab to sit right here, not right here. So I'm gonna get the death wheel. I think I'm gonna cut this sucker off, basically flip it over, weld it back on, and in the process do my best not to make this radiator leak. It's brand spanking new. I'd prefer not to have another costly mistake, but we'll give it a run. So I might put you on a little time lapse. I'll be in and out and back and forth here, but like I said, get the death wheel queued up. We'll cut this side off. We'll cut the other side off. Nice and careful like. Trim it off, flip it over. I'll queue up some aluminum wire in the old welder and follow all the specifications and try to weld this sucker without wrecking it. Wish me luck. See ya. Here we go. I took the steel wire out here, the metal wire out, tucked it away. I went ahead and paid up to get the actual Hobart 3,000ths or 30,000ths, excuse me, aluminum MIG wire. It's supposed to go with this machine. 100% argon, so here in a minute I'll switch out my CO2 for argon. 30,000ths wire, says run basically multiple passes and then it's soft, so the tension should be make sure the tension is not too tight to keep the torch straight as possible. A push angle for torch is recommended, so I'll do that. And then get after it. So I put a new tip on here, give myself all the best shot I have at making this work nice and clean. I need to dip it. Just realized, I don't know if you do that for aluminum. I'm sure someone out there will probably have all kinds of appropriate and proper advice for me. I welcome the advice. But since you're not here in my shop at the moment, I'm going to dip it just like I normally would in this nozzle gel with the shield on there. Set it down, and I mocked up over here some old junk aluminum, which probably also is not a good test because I don't know, this might be like cast iron for all I know. I really don't know anything about this. But it is aluminum, and I have a little piece I'm just going to try to weld on there and see if it works. This is pretty thin stuff, but my radiator is a little thicker, so I assume I'll need more heat. I'm learning my heat lessons. So let's turn you around here, and we'll get her done. All right, here we go. I got the argon on, attached. Okay, so we're gonna run 100% argon. Where you can see that a little bit. Okay, I mean, I'm just going off exactly what the machine says. 100% argon, aluminum wire number 5356, if my old eyes are reading that right, which matches what I put on the machine. Running it at 2,100. This is skinny stuff. We'll run it at a 3 when we get a little thicker. According to that, all I have is, a little rapid fire. There, let's put that back. All I have is kind of this piece of junk aluminum here that I should have clamped down. A piece of junk aluminum from an old flagpole that I've been using just as a pry bar, really. So I'm going to take it and clamp her down here, and in the spirit of learning, I'm just going to weld a little. I'm going to weld this little piece of aluminum. It came off another one I cut up onto it, and see if it holds, see if it destroys it. Just kind of play around, learn a little bit before I go trying to weld my $350 radiator or whatever the heck that thing cost me. So I'll tell my wife. Okay, here we go. That's pretty slick, actually. Let's keep rolling. Okay, cut a little chunk off the end, cleaned it up, prepped it. Obviously didn't put a lot of effort and energy into that, but let's fire it up. Throw this back on here and see if we can weld this in some sort of form that looks like a weld. Let's give it a shot. Well, it's on there. It's sturdy. It's pretty. Much like it didn't work. Ah! Okay, we're back learning how to weld aluminum. So I watched some YouTubes, which if you're watching this, hopefully you'll get some tidbits too. The push method, I think is what they called it. Push angle. For those who, like me, didn't completely understand, it is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. As you're welding, you're pushing into the direction you're welding, so the weld's coming behind you, which is different and opposite, at least for me, in the way that I weld steel, which don't take advice from me on how to do that. But so I had this aluminum piece of flagpole thingamajigger. Don't know if it's actual aluminum or aluminum composite or something. And so I got to thinking about it. And I was like, you know, metals can be dirty or different or soft, different hardness and softness and everything. So I went to the hardware store and I just bought a piece of aluminum, just a strip of aluminum. It wasn't cheap, it was like 20 bucks. But I figured it's worth $20 to practice and practice and practice before I go over and try to wreck my radiator. So I'm going to weld a little here. Feel free to follow along. I'm going to grab my helmet. And let's see if I can actually lay a bead that looks like a weld. Everybody said you gotta roll, you gotta go fast. So I did. Man, that's fast. Let's try it again. Looks like it's holding. I mean, let's do this side and see what we can get out of it. Okay, the other thing that I was told is to not use the same wire brush on aluminum as steel. I only have one wire brush. I don't know why or how that's possible, but I am going to use this one wire brush to see. Ooh, that's hot. See how that came out here. You know what? I mean, I'm here to tell you. Let that cool. You know, it doesn't look too pretty, but Okay, it's ugly. It's ugly. But I'll tell you what, it's stiff. It is stiff. I mean, that worked. That worked. Moment of truth. We're gonna weld her up. Aluminum welding. And it matters for the first time. Here we go. Look at that. No wonder I couldn't see anything. All right. Back at it. It ain't pretty, but it's darn strong. I think I'm gonna flip it around to the other side, clean it up, clean her up, see what she looks like, fit it, see if it missed anything. What the heck? Seems like it's holding. First time welding aluminum. Learned today. I don't know. Let's see if this thing stays in the car. Okay, I'm back trying this again. Learning how to weld aluminum. Tried and tried again and adjusted the settings on my welder. And after about, maybe not 10, but more than 5 tries, I think I have a very solid weld. I think it's penetrating right. It's not blown all the way through, which is a concern because I'm trying to re-weld this tab on the bottom of this radiator. Let's get where you can see that. And as you can see, I already did this side. It is an ugly weld, but it feels very solid. I think it's there. I don't think I penetrated into the radiator itself, so I'm hoping it doesn't leak, and it's just straight up a hope, because who knows. But I welded this on and finally got it where I was pretty confident and feeling good. That's why I went for it. After I did the welds, it looks bad, and it's not smooth and normal like a weld. It's not laying down the bead, but it is definitely holding strong. The old interwebs and people I know, to include the guru, my dad, said, make sure your surface is ultra clean for aluminum. So I ran to the hardware store, got a brand new brush. This one's stainless steel. This one is bronze, I believe, or copper. Let's double check. Brass. Okay. Brass. Looks kind of goofy, but I'm going to use this only for aluminum. Clean it really well when I go to do the other side. Kind of happy I got interrupted actually the other day. But let's look at this. All right, so I just took a piece of strap I cut it, I welded, I cut it, I welded, I cut it, I welded. And I'm gonna do a strength test. All right, so you can see it's just welded on there on edge. 90 degree. Let's see how strong that sucker is. And would you look at that? Okay. My weld looks like crap, okay? It looks like crap on this side. But it is strong enough. I bent the aluminum instead of breaking the weld. I have no idea if that's a good test or not, but in my world, the weld is holding stronger than the material itself. That's a win. I am calling that good. I'm going to keep my settings where they are. And for anybody who's looking to learn on that front, you can see right here behind me, I am set at 90 on the wire feed. This is a Hobart 140, Hobart Handler 140, and I'm maxed out on my volts up at the 5, which is what the manufacturer's recommendation is. So I'm going to bend that sucker back. I mean, abusing the heck out finally came off. I'm calling it a win. I'm going to weld the other side and so got the radiator modified. As you saw, got those perches flipped over, re-welded on aluminum. And while my welds are ugly, like all my welds, I do believe I got good penetration. I do believe they're holding strong, like you just saw, just like the other practice welds that I was doing. They feel very strong. The radiator's in, as you can see. It sets in, it feels strong. I put some pressure on it and they held like I would hope. So I'm pretty confident in the welds and their ability to hold. I'm pretty happy with it square. I flipped them over. Let's take you around here real quick and we'll have you take a look. So if you look here, you can see re-welded on. Again, the welds are pretty ugly, but I don't hate them. And I like that they seem very sturdy. So there's that one. Again, pretty ugly, but it's square. It sits flat. I am not yet sold on this cap. I thought it'd look kind of cool, but I don't know. I think there's maybe too much going on between this color, which is the same as is on the front, and then the aluminum with the gold. I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think on that one. But here is the dilemma of the day. So I'm going to set you up where you can kind of get a good view of this. And maybe we can get some opinions. So I got this radiator. I'm going to triple check and confirm. And as I always say, if I ever actually put this out there for anybody to see, I'll put a little thing to say, yes, I confirm, but I'm like 99% certain I got this radiator off of Speedway. You can get them through Amazon too, but it's a Speedway radiator that you buy through Amazon. So I just bought it through Speedway because that's where I get my stuff. Never been partial to one over the other, Summit, Speedway, any of the major places you can go and get good parts for old hot rods. But Speedway has really come through more often than not. So here's my issue. Got this radiator, the purchase, this radiator shell, according to the very sophisticated painted on numbers right here, is a 2627T. Stand by right there for a second. I was concerned because this is a 24 body is what I'm told. Again, I am not an expert on Model Ts. I've done a bunch of online research, did my best to figure out. I do believe it is a 1924 Model T body that's been chopped, or cab, I guess I should say. So I tried to find a 24 Model T radiator shell, and the closest I could get was a 26, 27. I was told they're the same. This is supposed to be a 24. It is the exact same height, width. I mean, it looks identical, just old. And I'm still debating whether to use this one that matches the rust level of the general cab, or this one that matches this air conditioning vent, I'm calling it. Either way, I don't think it's the cowl that's the problem. Problem is that this neck is too far back relative to the overall depth or width, depending on how you look at it, of the radiator itself. As you can see, the radiator sticks out just a little bit behind the shell, the radiator shell. And I don't know if you can see, but it's hitting right here. The shell's hitting that neck. That neck tapers out kind of in a pyramid, right? A cylindrical, like a cylindrical pyramid, effectively a triangle. And it has a gap here in the front. Okay, you can see my finger going in there, but it's hitting right here on the back. So when I put that, and I'll take this goofy cap off of here, which I really like. It's pretty slick, but also from Speedway. Also not a terrible ton of money. But again, I don't know if that's if that detracts from the overall look of the thing, which I go back to, the goal is not to make it look perfect. It's make it look pretty cool and make it operate. So if I take this off of here, you can see if I lean this forward a little bit, maybe not. It was actually kind of a pain to get on, so I'm not going to take it all the way off. But trust me, it's barely perfectly slides over this top neck. Okay, and I'll pick this up. And then once it gets on here and positioned properly, it has a gap right here and it's hitting on the back, so it doesn't allow it to slide all the way down onto the radiator. See what I mean right here? It won't go on straight and proper and still line up. When you push this back, it conflicts. This neck is too far back relative. It needs to be not centered on the overall radiator. There we go, that came off that time. See how the hole isn't centered? The hole is further to the back than it is to the front. This neck is centered, and in fact slightly toward the front from my calibrated eyeball, and that is causing an issue, causing my cowl to hit on the back side and not sit down properly. So what to do? I am going to sit here and fool with it a little bit to see if there's a way around that issue to make everything line up and live happily together. And I'm afraid I might need to take a little bit off of this back of this neck. Just a little bit, I think, would do the trick. We're talking like, 1/16 of an inch. I could just grind a little bit, and I'll bet that would sit down nicely. And then I could tack it down on the bottom, which I'll show you here what the plan is on that. Again, it might be a little bit ghetto. We're just, I'm just a guy trying to put together hot rods. So my plan is to take a washer. I picked up this rubber washer, standard washer at the hardware store, and I'm just going to simply stick it right there with one in between, bolt that sucker down, try to make it look right. That's the plan. So I guess we'll tinker with it a little bit today and see where we get. Again, tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I know I'm doing stuff wrong. Tell me if anybody else has bought this radiator from Speedway for a Model T, specifically purposely built with a real neck coming out the top that's operational. Because I didn't want a cheese ball, you know, where you actually fill it. The filler's out sticking out here. And this is a faux neck, which is, I think, fake, faux fake. I think that's the proper use of that word. I wanted to be real. So here we are. I'll make it work. I welcome suggestions. Thanks.